Hi.
We made it. All right. Whoa, holy pasta. That's unbelievable. Oh my God, this is like the smell on this. If you could smell through the camera here, you'd be in trouble. All right, so we got to talk about this first. And these bowls are unreal. Tell me what we got here.
All right, so here I have our house-made Rigatoni Bolognese, and it's a combination of ground beef and ground pork. And we sear that, we get that nice fond going on that, which means that we cook until it gets a nice kind of a nice crust on the outside to really render the fat out. And then we take that out, drain the fat, and then we take our vegetables, which is a combination of carrots, it was a mirepoix, so carrots, onions, and celery. And then we saute that up with some garlic. And then once that's nice and sauteed up, we deglaze with our port wine. And then once it's reduced, we add the meat back to the pot and then mix it all together. And then we let that simmer with some tomato and some garlic paste until it's probably about a good 30 minutes to maybe an hour. And then we finish it off with pecorino romano cheese and chiffonade basil.
My God, so my mouth's dropping here like 3 or 4 times, and I'm getting messages right now like holy pasta is what I'm getting. So first of all, that's absolutely amazing, and I think I'd want to try to make that if I could. And I'm trying to get these messages. Well, now I got to get to the other one. Sorry. So tell me about this other pasta that's up here.
Well, the topping too. The first is our whipped ricotta. So we take ricotta cheese, and then we have our granulated.
That's what that's sitting on top. Mm-hmm. So the Parmesan's on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So it's a whipped ricotta with granulated garlic and our blend of herbs, which was oregano and parsley, and then a little salt and pepper too, and then finished with pecorino romano and fresh basil. And then
it's like I'm making me drool over here. This is unbelievable.
We have our linguine Caprese dish,
okay,
which is our basic marinara sauce, just garlic shallots, wine, a little sugar, and we let that simmer for a good 30 minutes, and then we blend it just not too much, so it's so it's a little chunky, so you get like the crushed tomatoes come through still, and then we take our fresh herbs again, which is the oregano and the parsley, and then we saute that up. And then at the very end, we toss it with our fresh, local, mozzarella that we dice, and then we top it with the chiffonade of basil.
So obviously I'm a pasta person and I enjoy pasta here, so these would be right up my alley. And I have to tell you, this restaurant, again, this is another restaurant located in Garden City, right there in the heart of Cranston, easy to get to in the parking. The style of the restaurant, Bistro 22, fits the bistro style. It's a very comfortable style restaurant. How many seats are in the restaurant overall, do you think?
I would say overall we got about 50, and that's including the bar on the inside, and then on the outside we have a patio area which seats about 40.
So, I mean, total, that's 90 to pump out of there for that small kitchen that you got in there. So, walking in, menu, surprisingly too, again for the side, it's you would look at this and you would think Italian, but you're not an Italian restaurant per se, right?
Yeah, correct. We have a lot of classic Italian dishes that we try to take our own creative and eclectic take on those dishes. So we say, taking an Italian dish like chicken saltimbocca, I think it is. So we have what's it called? The Parma prosciutto. Yeah. And then you have the chicken breast, and then you put the provolone cheese on top of that with the fresh sage. Okay. And we have that. Our take on that is we use a Statler chicken, which has the wing nut attached to it, and it's a thicker piece of chicken breast. And it's on top of haricot vert green beans and our garlic mashed potatoes. And when we cook the chicken, we make a pan sauce once it's done, rendering its own juice out of that. And we add butter and our fresh herbs, and then we finish it with a top of mixed microgreens.
Okay, so this is making me very hungry. So, Chef, is this all kind of your creations, your interpretations that you're going through with these things?
Well, a lot of my inspiration for the new menus come from my staff. The thing that I try to stress in our kitchen is that it's our kitchen, that even though I'm the executive chef, but I wouldn't, I take the same creativity and ideas from my pantry cook that I would from my sous chef, that I would from even my dishwasher if they ever had any ideas.
Inspiring. See, hearing this, that's very inspiring. That's
awesome. I like
it
to think that it's our kitchen, and even when, at the very end of the night, we're all there, and we take collect ourselves at the end of a very busy night, and we say, what can we do to make things better? How can we do to, what do you think you could work on, or, to that.
So these interpretations and the collaboration that you're talking about with your team, how big is the menu? It's
not too big. It's a bistro menu, so it's, it's that one page, and you have you know, you have your starters, and then you have like pizza,
Okay.
and then you have your entrees and desserts. And we have probably each station, which you have grill, saute, and pantry. Each station has about 4 dishes each
Wow.
per station.
And I don't think you have to worry about portion sizes, just looking at this right here. I think that you're gonna fill up and do just fine.
Yeah.
So you guys have a nice little bar in there that I saw.
Yeah.
The location that you're at, you also have the opportunity where I noticed that there's entertainment, right,
Correct.
outside?
Yep. So every Friday night, around, I think it's from 6 to 8 p.m., we have a live jazz band that comes in, and they set up in the courtyard area that Garden City just refinished. And yeah, it's really great and relaxing, and it's like you see a lot of families coming through, a lot of, you know, younger crowd coming in through, which is, you know, good to see.
And that's Friday night, you said?
Yep, every Friday night.
What's the time on that?
6 to 8.
6 to 8 o'clock, okay. So that's something you gotta plan for, and is that going through the fall?
I'm really not sure. I'd have to look into that. I'm almost certain it is, but
So you're gonna check that out, because if it is, you definitely want to take
Limited
advantage of it.
time
The
only.
courtyard is beautiful, actually. If you walk right upon it, it's right outside where your kind of patio
Yeah.
spaces that you have there. How long has the bistro been over there?
I would say about 5 years,
Okay.
5 to 6 years.
So it's still relatively new in the restaurant business of being over there. And their location, for Rhode Islanders that need location maps for everything, is that it's near the Starbucks. So you can't miss it if you're heading that way. What'd you bring me for wine here to taste that?
So I have the Chateau Smith, which is, I picked this because I want the customers to know that it pairs nicely with the pasta dishes that we have, because they're very robust flavors, very strong savory flavors. And this this is something that's got a lot of fruity flavors to it that offset that, and it just goes, you know,
From Washington State too, that's great.
very nicely with a lot of our
All right,
pasta
you're gonna have a little
dishes.
sip of it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I promised the chef that I wouldn't joke around about something, but I'm gonna joke around about it anyway. When I tried to reach out to the chef to get her to come in, she thought for a moment.
Thank you.
See, I
Thank
told
you
you I'd
for
make you
asking.
laugh. Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah, we do. Honestly, we get a lot of prank.
She was
Believe
worried.
it or
She
not.
was worried that I wasn't sincere, that I wanted to have her come in, and I said I need to have a good chef come in that's a female from over that area, and it worked out very well. So I'm very happy that you can make the time to join me.
Thank you.
So you brought 2 great pastas. Let's talk about some of the other items that you have on the menu, because is it lunch and dinner or just dinner that you have going?
Lunch and dinner, and we're open daily from 11:30 to around 9:30. On the weekends we do 10 to 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And yeah, so our pizza options that we have, we're trying to gear towards more of like vegetarian options for some different crowd. We get a lot of requests all the time, so I try to stay on top of that. If I hear requests, I try to reflect that into my new menu. So I tried, with the veggie pizza, we have a pesto.
Okay.
We try to take our take on it is arugula pesto
Nice.
instead of basil pesto. And of course, I don't like to put nuts. I try to stay away from that as much as possible in case cross-contamination or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's a good
So-
point. Yep.
So it's a very simple recipe with arugula and garlic paste, pecorino cheese, extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper, very easy, and lemon juice.
Wow.
And it's been a big hit. And so that's the base of the pizza. And so then we put our fresh mozzarella on top, and we have our blistered cherry tomatoes. And what we do with that is the cherry tomatoes that we coat in canola oil, salt and pepper. We'll blister it for about good 4 or 5 minutes until you get to see the outside start to peel
Right,
away, so
okay.
it gets some of those juices to render away from the tomato, and that way it doesn't make the pizza too solid.
So I was talking to some of the other chefs earlier about sourcing locally, and Chef Antonio that was just in before, he's actually sourcing from Italy and also locally. Do you have the opportunity where you guys are able to do with that, being this creative, that it sounds like a lot of these ingredients are coming locally?
Yeah, our Metro Seafood Company is the seafood company that we're using. They're straight out of Warwick,
Okay.
and we use them for everything. For all of our seafood products, and then for our produce company, we have Guarantee Fresh, which is I think from Connecticut. But they have a lot of their products that they have are a lot of local. This is Narragansett cheese that we get from
Right.
them, and we get a bunch of local produce from them.
So the style of the restaurant, and going back to the feel of it, is the bistro, is that it's very intimate. It's a very intimate setting.
Yeah.
That's when you're in there. It's not expansive. You're not going to feel like you're surrounded by hundreds of people. And it doesn't, you've got a nice bar. You do have a nice bar that's able to be there, but it's not the type of place. And someone just asked me, can you do events there as well? And I said, it's not really that kind of setup for the restaurant, because it's
Yeah,
more that
depending on the size
casual,
of it, yeah.
comfortable feeling to have there. Now, the clientele that are coming through there, and I didn't get a chance to ask the chef from Avia earlier, is it seems that you're definitely getting locals, the Rhode Islanders, Cranstonites, whatever you'd like to call them.
Yeah.
But there's also tourist groups coming through that are shopping and going through Garden City.
Yeah, there are. We get a lot of people from all over because we have that area itself has got a lot of great restaurants that people are constantly coming to see. Which you have Avio, for example, would their sister restaurants would be Waterman Grill and
Right.
Chapel Grill.
Well, no, Chapel Grill's a different group, but they've got Waterman Grill,
That's
they've got
yeah.
Castle Hill, all those guys, yeah. So, there's two parts of the question that I have to ask that bring up, and they're kind of more to your chef side of things. From your background, before I get to those questions, how long have you been cooking? How long have you been in the business?
So I've been in this since I was about 16. I'm 22 now. So I mean, obviously, not too much of a not too much of experience, but I gotta say, at my first job, I started off straight on the line on at this place, Kirkbury Country Club in Lincoln, and they hired me right off the spot to work as a pantry cook, and then I just kind of worked my way through that station, and then they said, we'll try you on another station and see how you do, and then grill station, and then I kind of just worked my way through that. And then once I left there, I worked at this other place in West Warwick, the Villa. They're recently closed down, but when I was there, I worked with a great chef, and he showed me a lot of classic Italian dishes and a lot of classic Italian techniques, and I learned what I could from there.
So you worked your way through all of this?
And then I was at Bistro 22, and they just took me under their wing, and here I am.
That's fantastic. That's
Executive
actually
chef.
it's a very good thing to hear that you worked great. So it kind of bit you. This passion wasn't something you were thinking about. It kind of bit you, and you stayed with it, right?
Well, I mean, even when I was younger, a lot of it came from my passion for food itself. Was a lot from my mom. Growing up with a single mom, she's got 3 kids, and just that always was a very important thing in my family, was to be able to sit down for dinner, and she would show me how to cook and be able to get the family together. And of course, you always get your first critics. It's like, put the sauce on the side,
Yeah.
and I don't want the peas, and I don't want butternut squash, and that's where I learned from a very young age at that time, where it was just something that just changes people. You see people when they sit down and then they start eating. It's like, even if two people don't like each other,
Right.
if you sit down
The
and have a
comfort
meal
level
that you
comes
enjoy,
back.
there's this mutual connection that you guys have.
Absolutely. Food brings people together, no doubt about it. So 2 last questions for you.
Yeah.
Actually, I get her and be calm and have another sip here. Is I would say, the thing on your menu that you encourage people to try, something that's on your menu that you really think that's something that people should try and experiment with on the menu, a dish?
I would have to say that would be, probably our, I really like our Statler, honestly. Like, that's one that I really enjoy, but maybe the pork tenderloin, because it's a little different, it's grilled, but we have our black bean corn salsa, which kind of, goes away from a lot of classic, or not some classic Italian dishes that we have that we try to do a different take on, but it's kind of going to a southwestern style when you have that salsa on top of it. And maybe our grilled salmon too, because it's got a lot of, it's got a mango salsa on top with a grilled asparagus and our chorizo
So
hash.
again, so you're crossing over a lot of different
Exactly.
things.
So there's a lot of different things. So it's like, can't pinpoint just one particular dish that I would like them to try all of them, honestly.
That's a good answer, Chef. And then, from your perspective of being in the kitchen, and you just gave us a nice little sampling of the background that you've been in, what's something that you truly enjoy, like one of your passions that you like making, or the ingredients that you like working in the kitchen?
Altogether, I mean, any dish on saute. Saute is something that I really didn't think that I would really take to before coming to Bistro. I had worked pantry and I worked grill, but saute was one of those things where my chef tried to show me, and I'm just like, I'm too scared.
For the viewers, tell them what saute is, because not everybody understands.
Saute is very quick. Like, it's just, you've got all your saute pans, and it's just like everything moves fast. You got to keep an eye on everything, and you got your garlic shallots, which a lot of my pasta dishes all start with garlic and shallots. You got to make sure it gets browned just correctly. You can't get it, it can't be burnt. It'll be bitter, and then you have to just everything has to be in sync with grill, with pantry, and everybody has to be able to get it out at the same time and in quickly, in a very quick manner. And
so she's fast is what she's trying to tell you. She's quick. Well, Chef, I appreciate you making the time. You have a great location. Again, check it out on social media. I'm going to make sure I have a nice picture of a scoop afterwards so I can prove I was real again over there. And these are great dishes. So thank you for making the time. Thank you for bringing in the wine. Check out Bistro 22 in Cranston. I'm Rick Simone.